welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kayla. I think I only have one other video on this channel so far, so hi. I also have a daily vlogging channel or a vlogging channel that is linked on the main page of this channel. So if you're coming from over there, hey you guys, and again, if you're new, hello and welcome. Anyway, so these sit-down videos are always kind of awkward for me. I am much more comfortable in front of the camera when I can just vlog. So if I seem kind of awkward, so sorry. So yeah, let's just hop right in. So I have had a lot of questions about my twins and my birth story with the twins and that sort of thing. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a birth vlog for the twins because it was before I was vlogging, and it was like an unexpected birth, so I wasn't really prepared. So I have a couple of pictures and a few video clips that I will insert at the end of this video. Sorry, it's nap time here and I have to make sure that Olivia is still in bed. She's starting this new like get out of bed thing, and it's really frustrating. But anyway, so I have a few pictures and a few videos that I'll insert probably throughout this video or at the very end, just maybe a video montage of me throughout my pregnancy and then right afterwards with the boys and stuff like that. So I think I also have a video of the first time I got to hold each one of the boys. So let's just get right into the story. So twins do not run in my family anywhere that we're aware of. So having twins was a huge shock for Ben and myself, and we were not expecting it. In fact, we had just considered adding a new baby to our family when we found out that we were already pregnant. And then the whole pregnancy was I was just very in tune with my body, I guess. They say that a woman's intuition is very strong. So I actually dreamed that I was pregnant before I found out that I was. And yeah, like I remember I went to my OB and for just like a yearly exam, and I told her, I said, I think I might be pregnant. And she said, okay, well, let's do a test. So we did a blood test and it came back negative. But it had only been a few days since you know, we baby danced. So it came back negative when in fact I actually was pregnant. It was just way too early for even a blood test to pick up. And so a few weeks went by and I missed my period, and I was in Target and I actually had picked up a pregnancy test box and I put it back because I was one of those like crazy people who pee on a stick all the time. And I was like, no, like the blood test was negative. You're obviously not pregnant. Just put it back. And so I put it back. And as I was walking towards the checkout line, I just had this like urge of, you should really go back and get that test. So I did. And I took me and Olivia into the family bathroom at Target, the one that's just like single family. And I took the test and it immediately showed up positive, and I was in shock. And then I would say about a week later, I had a dream that I was having twins. I had a dream that I was taking another pregnancy test, and it was one of those electronic or like digital tests, and that it said pregnant on the screen, and then underneath it said 95% chance of twins. And I woke up and I was like, nah, definitely not. That's just like, it doesn't run in our family, so it's probably not gonna be twins. So we went to the beach with family, and then I went on a retreat with a bunch of my girlfriends. And the day after I got back, we had our first OB appointment and laid down for the ultrasound. Ben and Olivia were with us, and she put the ultrasound thing. This was an internal ultrasound, which I was not expecting. Never had that done before. So she puts it in there and she's like kind of moving around a little bit, and I immediately saw it. And I was like, surely not, surely not. And she goes, okay, so we have 2 heartbeats. And I sat my head up and I said, shut up. And Ben, he was holding Olivia, who was being crazy. She was only like 17 months at the time, 16, 17 months. She was just being crazy. And he was like, what? So yeah, 2 heartbeats, and they did the ultrasound, and then I had to go back and wait in the waiting room for my doctor and to consult with her and stuff. And I was just in shock. Like, I was so quiet. I was so nervous. I didn't know what to think. I was like nervous laughing. Part of me was excited, but the bigger part of me was terrified. And thankfully I had a couple of friends who have twins, and they kind of led me in the right direction as far as getting connected with other twin moms and Facebook groups and that sort of thing. And then I downloaded the What to Expect When You're Expecting app. It's the one that I used when I was pregnant with Olivia, and I like that one because it has like a forum section where you can connect with other moms due in the same month as you. And so I got on there and I talked about how I was having twins, and quite a few other people were having twins as well. So we created a Facebook group, and there were about 33 of us in there, and it was really awesome to have a group of women who understood what you were going through, because twin pregnancies are not easy. Like, it is by far the hardest thing I've ever gone through. And yeah, it was rough. So anyway, got all the way, we'll just fast forward, got all the way to where we were going to find out the gender. And before we found out, then I think it was like the night or two before, I actually had a dream we were having 2 boys. And sure enough, we were having 2 boys. So that's kind of how that went. And then the rest was just really rough pregnancy. I mean, I wasn't sick or anything, but carrying 2 babies is just like no easy feat. I was not expecting it. It's everything you hate about the 3rd trimester packed into the entire pregnancy, basically. So I went into labor Christmas Day. I was 34 weeks pregnant, and we had Christmas with Olivia. I had actually been admitted to the hospital the Wednesday before, and because I was showing signs of preeclampsia, I was having major swelling, protein in my urine. So I was admitted to the hospital, high blood pressure. I was admitted to the hospital and kept there for observation, and I was released by my OB Christmas Eve morning, because she knew I wanted to be with my family and my daughter, and because this was Olivia's like first real Christmas where she was going to care and that sort of thing. So I was released, and I got to spend Christmas morning with my family. I wasn't allowed to travel, so all of our family came to us for Christmas morning, and it was so fun. And we had regular Christmas, good old time. And that evening, I thought I had just overdone it that day, because I was walking around a lot and, getting up and getting down and picking up Olivia and that sort of thing, which I shouldn't have been doing. I was on modified bed rest, but, I don't know how to listen. So I had Braxton Hicks contractions throughout most of the pregnancy, starting around 18 weeks, and then just from then on out, really strong all the time. And I'd actually been admitted to labor and delivery a few times because of them, and had to have like the shot to make my contractions stop and that sort of thing. So that evening, when I started having really strong contractions, I just thought I was having Braxton Hicks again. And so I got in the bath for about an hour, and it didn't help. I could not get comfortable. No way that I was sitting or turning felt good. If I was standing up, I was in pain. If I was laying down, I was in pain. I tried to lay in bed, and I couldn't get comfortable. If I laid down, I felt like I was suffocating. If I was sitting up, I felt like I was suffocating. The babies were moving a ton. And every single time I had a contraction, I couldn't catch my breath. And it wasn't super painful, but I'm claustrophobic. So it felt like someone was sucking the air out of my lungs, and I couldn't breathe. And so I got on the couch, and Ben was upstairs playing his Xbox, and it was almost midnight at this point. Got on the couch, and I could not get comfortable. And I had slept on the couch the night before because I was uncomfortable as well. So I called to Ben, and I said, I think we need to go to the hospital. And he said, are you sure? And I said, yeah, I think I might be in labor. And I talked with it's called an MFM. I think it's maternal fetal medicine, doctor, a twin specialist, basically a multiple specialist, while I was admitted the week before. And she had told me that the boys were good sizes, and that if I actually went into labor, she would not stop it. She would let the boys come. So I said, let's just go over to the hospital. It's a pretty far drive. It was about a 40-minute drive. Because I'm in so much pain, and I started to have a panic attack. And when you're pregnant, like, Panic attacks are not good anytime, but when you're pregnant and you start to hyperventilate, like it's not only bad for you, but it's also bad for your babies because it cuts off your oxygen supply. And so I started to have a major panic attack. I was sobbing. I couldn't catch my breath. And so we get in the car and we go. And we get to labor and delivery. We had to go through triage and they put me up to the monitor. And sure enough, I was having contractions every 3 to 4 minutes apart, strong contractions. And they consulted with my doctor, and after about 4 hours decided to admit me overnight, and they went ahead and got an OR ready for a C-section because unfortunately my babies were both breech. I believe Jameson was breech and Jacob was transverse. So they said they weren't sure, you know, what was going to happen, but they went ahead and prepped an OR and put me in a room. And they gave me some drug. Starts with a D because my contractions were pretty strong and I couldn't get comfortable in the bed because it was a labor and delivery bed, which they aren't meant to sleep in, they're meant to give birth in. So I was really uncomfortable. So give me something, and she put it in through my IV, and oh my gosh, it hit me like a train. Like I was fine, I was talking, and then I blinked and literally opened my eyes and everything was blurry. I felt drunk, and it was hilarious. She was asking for my arm to take my blood pressure, and I was like, I can't lift my arm. And eventually she was like, you know what, girl, just close your eyes and go to sleep. And it felt like I literally closed my eyes and opened them, and it was the next morning. And I fully expected to look over at the monitor and see that my contractions had subsided throughout the night because I slept, and I figured that it would relax me and I would calm down and they would stop. But actually they were still coming every 2 minutes. And so my OB walks in and she goes, so you want to have babies this morning? And I was like, what? Like, I was shocked. I didn't really, I mean, I kind of expected it, but I kind of didn't because I was only 34 weeks. And I said, are you sure? And she goes, yeah, at this point, the babies are making you more sick being inside than they are doing any good. And they're at, you know, a good weight. I had 2 steroid shots the week before to help develop their lungs in case I did go into early labor and all this stuff. So it wasn't something that we chose to do. Like, it wasn't just a quick decision. It was something that had been being monitored for a couple of weeks because I had been dealing with a bunch over the last couple of weeks. And felt confident. I trusted my doctor, and I said, okay, yeah, let's do this. And I looked at Ben, and we didn't have anything. I didn't bring hospital bags, nothing, because I was just in such a frenzy the night before that I wasn't prepared. And we had everything for the boys. I just hadn't packed it all yet, which if any of you are pregnant with twins, get your bags packed at like 27 weeks and have them ready because you just never know. Average delivery for twins is 35 weeks. So I was right around there. And so I looked at Ben and I said, you should probably call some people, you know, you should call our family. And Ben looked at my doctor and said, what kind of timeline are we looking at? And she said, 20 minutes. And he said, 20 minutes till we like get her in there. And she said, no, 20 minutes till they're born. And he was like, oh, snap. Like, I think it hit him all of a sudden, like, oh crap, this is happening. So he called my family, and I think I just kind of went into shock at that point because everything from then on out is a blur. I remember them moving me to the like gurney and then rolling me into the OR. They slid me over onto the operating table. I had to hug a nurse I'd never met before. I mean, my face was like planted into her chest, and she was hugging me and telling me things were okay. And that's while I was getting the spinal block. And yeah, man, it was such a blur. And the spinal block, it felt just like an epidural. I had an epidural with my first, but it's different because they don't leave the line in. But he hit a nerve twice in my back, and my left leg jumped both times, and he freaked out a little bit. He was like, stop doing that. And I was like, I did not do that. You did that, sir. But he got it in. It was all good. That made me a little bit nervous. And then they, you know, swabbed my belly, and I think laying on my back was like the most uncomfortable part. But once that spinal block kicked in really well, I couldn't feel anything. I was kind of euphoric. It was really warm and comfortable, probably the most comfortable I had been in, you know, 6 months. And so they put the drapes up and everything, and then my doctor said, all right, Kayla, let me know if you can feel any type of cut or pinching, pulling, anything like that. And I was waiting to feel something and didn't. And she was like, all right, I guess we're good because you're open. And at that point, Ben actually was allowed to come into the OR. The anesthesiologist was up at my left side, Ben was up at my right side, and Ben was like leaning over the drapes, because you know they have that big curtain up, and the doctors were like, dude, you got to step back, because if you fall, we're gonna go kill your wife or kill the baby or something. So he was just so excited. There were about 20 people in the room. We had like the NICU staff, bunch of nurses, bunch of doctors, all standing around. It was a little bit overwhelming. So they pulled, Jameson was twin A, he was out first, and I briefly remember them holding him over the curtain for like a split second, but because they were premature, they kind of just went ahead and whisked him away. And I remember the nurses telling Ben, like, you can go look at your babies if you want. And he looked at me and he was like, are you okay? And I said, yeah, please go look at him, go take pictures. Because because I couldn't see it, I wanted him to document everything so I could see. And then they had a hard time pulling Jacob out. He was like way up underneath my rib cage. So a nurse was literally like pushing from the outside. My doctor had her arms like elbow deep inside me trying to get him out. They pull him out, and at first they were okay, but then they both had trouble breathing. So they'd both be put on oxygen and I think CPAP machine or ventilator. I don't remember a whole lot of these details because I was knocked out. I did not know this was going to happen, but my doctor, I was also having a tubal done at the same time because we were done having children. I had my tubes tied. So I remember feeling very tired and warm, and I was thinking to myself, why am I so tired? Like, all I want to do is go to sleep right now. I feel like I should be having an adrenaline rush because I just gave birth, you know, and I'm cut open on an operating table. Why do I want to sleep so bad? And then the very next thing I remember is waking up in some random room, which was the recovery room, with some nurse I had never seen before in my life, and I was very confused and disoriented, and she was very nice and was like, you're fine, everything's good, like we'll get you to your recovery room soon, just close your eyes. And I closed my eyes, and then the next thing I know, I'm in my recovery room, don't remember getting there, nothing in between. And I remember just bits and pieces after that because I was pretty drugged up, I think. I remember not that time. I remember getting up, walking to a wheelchair, and being wheeled to the NICU to meet my babies for the first time, and they were so tiny, you guys. I have their birth cards here. Jameson, twin A, he was born at 9:37 in the morning on December 26th. He was 19 inches long and weighed 5 pounds, 15 ounces, which is really good for 34 weeks. That's almost exactly 6 pounds. So I was pretty proud of that. And then Jacob, little twin B, he was born at 9:38 a.m. He weighed 5 pounds, 3 ounces, and he was 18 3/4 inches long. So tiny little babies. I mean, Olivia, when she was born, she weighed 8 pounds, 10 ounces. So these were so tiny, tiny little babies. And I remember seeing them for the first time, and I just wanted to cry because they were so small. And I got to hold them pretty much right away. The NICU nurses were amazing and so nice and accommodating, and I just had a really great experience overall. In hindsight, I was so excited to see my babies that I did go to the NICU as soon as I could, but I should have waited a little bit longer because I was in a lot of pain. I've heard before that having a tubal on top of a C-section can make your recovery time a little bit longer, and it can be a little more painful in recovery. And I wasn't expecting that, and I'm still really sensitive and all that good stuff, but we ended up staying in the hospital for 5 days. The boys had a 5-day NICU stay, and then they were actually released with me to go home. And yeah, that's basically it. We came home and we got adjusted. My mom and my mother-in-law, they switched off weeks. They both stayed about 3 weeks, I would say. And then Ben got a few weeks off of work to stay and help. But it's been such a roller coaster, you guys, but it's been amazing. If you follow my vlog channel, then you see the boys a lot. And if you don't follow my vlog channel, please do. Please click over and subscribe over there so you can keep up to date with the boys. I'm also going to be doing Olivia's birth story very soon. I don't really know that I have any video from then or really any pictures because that was so long ago, but I'll try to muster some up to share with you guys. But I'm going to go ahead and play some pictures and video after this. But thank you so much for watching. I hope that this helped you. If you are expecting twin mom, then I plan to have more twin videos and that sort of thing. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, you guys.
Gonna hold Jacob for the first time.
I think he can reach. It's just connected to something down there. Look at those little eyes. Yeah, that's it. I think you can just stay in there without letting him connect. Hey, Mama.
You guys look just alike.
He looks different, don't he? You don't think so?
No. The reason you think he looks different is because he's a little smaller.
Jacob, hey buddy, hey little one. Yeah.
Quit getting so mad. There it is. It's right there. There you go. Okay, put your hand right there like you did earlier. Okay, so there's 11 on the wall. There you go. There you go.
I wanted today off.